Hello, this is Dr. Dave Maslock. I'm talking about my sharing economy proofreading platform that I'm trying to build. In this particular video, I really wanted to talk to you about how you can get discounted luxury Disney vacations and many more things like this, any sort of luxury good. So I'm a professor of innovation, strategy, and entrepreneurship. And today I'm actually on a quick vacation. I'm going to show you right now. I'm on a Disney cruise. You can see around me. Hopefully you can see that. That's the next ship right there. I'm actually in the Bahamas, and there's some construction going on in the background. So if it gets noisy, just know that's what's going on. And I actually want to give you a quick lesson on some stuff about supply and demand and economics. And I think this is a really important lesson about how you can actually get luxury goods for tremendous discounts, actually. And I learned a big chunk of this, actually. I'm going to give a shout out to Dave Ramsey. He's actually quite influential in the way that I've been thinking, because a lot of the stuff that he says is really what you'd cover in some basic business classes. He just tells everybody, some concepts from basic business classes, and this personal finance is great because it applies to a lot of different people. So how did we get this at a substantial, how did we get this vacation? It's a short vacation. We're doing a 3-day Disney cruise, and we're in the Bahamas right now, and then we'll be off to their Disney island. But how did we get this at a substantial discount, and why are we able to take this vacation? And I know some of you are probably thinking, yeah, he's a professor, right? He makes a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily all that. It's not necessarily all that is the case. Yes, I'm going to admit that. Yeah, my salary is quite nice, and I went through graduate school for a very long time to get here. But at the same time, um, my wife and I are actually quite frugal with a lot of different things, and this is kind of a nice lesson to sort of talk to you about how you can actually, if you're frugal, you can do a lot of different things and a lot of amazing things because of some issues or some concepts that we might learn in finance or in economics. And one of them is all about supply and demand. So supply is all of so if you're in a marketplace, let's take a step back. If you're in a marketplace and you have something, whatever it is, maybe it's a luxury good, right? Maybe it's cruises, for example. And there is supply and demand for those cruises. So what is supply? That is basically the amount that firms, companies, organizations, maybe small businesses, they are trying to provide you some sort of good, some sort of thing. And those are the sellers, right? So they provide all of the supply for a particular thing, right? So in this case, it's cruises, or cruise tickets, I guess, cruises, cruise rooms. And then there's also demand. This is what in this particular case, this is what, in cruises, it's the general market demand for cruises. This is people from all over the world are paying attention to, taking a cruise. There's people on Disney cruises are amazing, by the way. There's people from all over the world, all the crew members. They hire from all over the world. It's really remarkable. And this is the neat thing is when supply and demand don't match up. So demand again is, what do people? It's the willingness to pay for some particular good by people. And when supply and demand don't match up, either prices in that market, they either go up or down, right? So if there's more demand than supply, then the price of a particular thing will go up. If there's more demand than supply, if there's more supply than demand, then the prices will go down, right? So that's really basic economics. And it's really, really useful when you're thinking about this, because you can think about supply and demand of vacations and supply and demand of cruises, for example. Now, a lot of people know this, right? So they're looking for off-season times to get some sort of discount, to get a particular discount. The off-season is, the times where, summertime, it's really a lot of vacationers, because that's when everybody's out of school. And there's also, spring break, Christmas time and stuff like that. And all the other times when kids are in school, for example, or when there's kind of a weird event going on for whatever reason, I don't know what it might be, but some sort of weird event where there's just not a lot of demand for vacations, then that off season is going to lower the prices a little bit. But you know what's really neat and what's really interesting? Disney is very smart. They know what they're doing. They're good managers, well-run organization, well-run company. They think about that and they can manipulate the demand pretty substantially. And I'm not sort of saying that in a negative way, but they do things such as when there's a really low time in the season, they may offer not discounted prices, but they might do a really special, interesting event. So, for example, they might have a Jedi event or something, a Star Wars cruise, or they might have a cruise specifically for one group of individuals. If there's so many of them, that a lot of people will go. Maybe it's, my name is Dave, so maybe they have a cruise that's specifically for all of the Daves that you know. And then it becomes this giant cruise with all these Daves, and they're basically they're manipulating the demand for this particular good or this particular market, right? So they can do that by just having sort of a specialty. It attracts people. Some great marketing will attract people, and then they can sort of keep the price of whatever it is at a level amount. Now you can also think about, so these what I'm thinking about now is it's not only about sort of seasonal changes over time that affect the prices, but you also have to think about supply and demand shocks. These are unexpected events that Disney cannot predict in any sort of way, right? These are things like maybe dramatic changes in the weather. Maybe they are some weird political thing that happens. Maybe it is some, random religious thing that happens. I don't know. But these are things that are totally unpredictable. Nobody can predict exactly what's going on, right? So you have to be paying attention to these supply and demand shocks. Now the supply shocks, right? This might be something where, so for example, maybe another cruise line shuts down, and that's going to reduce the amount of supplies for cruises, right? So less supply for cruises. It's going to shoot the prices up for that particular thing. But what you have to think about, and it's really typically supply side stuff, those are very long run. It's not going to change very dramatically. Disney's very smart at managing. They're not going to be able to, they're going to be very comfortable with controlling the supply side. But they can not be very comfortable, and it might be really difficult on the demand side, right? So these are things that are completely unpredictable from people. Everyday people are really, to be honest, everyday people are really strange. Strange things happen on a regular basis, and some things scare people more than others. And when that happens, sometimes there's a glut, or there's a great supply of tickets that are available, cruises that are available for the amount of supply. Now, a ship, if you think of the economics, they have to ship no matter what, right? So they have to go. Because if one person pays for a ticket or 5 people pay for the ticket, that means, and they pay a very, very high price, that means they have to go anyways, right? So what they try to do, because they're going anyways and they're doing these loops, and they've paid for all of the labor, they paid for all the employees, they paid for the ships, they have the gas, they have to use all of this stuff up on a regular basis. They can't change very quickly the supply side. So when there's demand shocks, what they're going to do is reduce the price dramatically. If there is not very much demand, there's tremendous demand for all of a sudden, they're going to increase the prices. So what you have to do as sort of a day-to-day person, you have to look for those moments in time where there is a demand shock. It's not just the off-season, but it's about the demand shock, unexpected events that is completely unpredictable out of sort of the management's ability for Disney. That's the important ones. That's when you're going to get very, very high discounts on whatever it is you're looking. So a few years ago, I think it was Carnival, right? They had some issues with food poisoning and things like that. Well, if you would have bought tickets right after that for a cruise, you would have got a tremendous discount. on those cruises, right? So you have to think about that discount, and that's because nobody wanted to go on it, right? But they were still shipping anyways; they had to go, so you could have got a tremendous discount. And now, how do you get these tremendous discounts? The way that you have to think about it, you on your side have to be very, very flexible to sort of anticipate these unexpected supply and demand shocks, mostly demand shocks, right? And you have to be flexible in a number of different ways. They're really important. The first one is you have to be very flexible on the destination and the date, right? So it doesn't matter. So you have to take this as the flexibility is the power of what I call meh, right? So this is the ability just to be like, meh, I don't need it at this time. It doesn't matter. We don't go on it. It doesn't matter at all. We can go someplace else. It doesn't matter. Everything is just meh. That's what you have to think about. It's just you got to be chill, and it doesn't matter if you do that particular thing. So you have to be very flexible on the destination, right? Doesn't matter. For us, it didn't matter whether we were going to the Bahamas or if we were going to anywhere in the Caribbean. It didn't matter what we were doing. We were thinking of maybe at one point we want to do a cruise. We want to do something like that at some point in the future. Doesn't matter when, right? You also have to be sort of flexible on the date, right? It just doesn't matter when you go. You don't have to lock into a specific time, right? I apologize, the noise in the background, they're doing something on the other ship. You also have to be very flexible on your finances. And anybody can do this. I'm a professor, so yes, I got paid a little bit more, but we also save up for things, and this is why Dave Ramsey is so important. And so it means that anybody can do these kind of things. It just means you just have to save up for it. You might have a sort of a fund that you have that is like a vacation fund, right? That you just sort of pile up, and then once it's full, you have enough, you just kind of let it sit there, right? So you just let it sit there, and you just don't worry about it, and it just sits there. And what that does, it frees you up. It allows you to delay gratification because you know that you have savings available to do something like that. And you have to be willing to, once it's filled up, you have to be willing to just delay gratification as long as you possibly can, right? So that's the important thing, is that you can just delay gratification, and you can just say, and what is delaying gratification? That is the ability to sort of withstand small failures and sort of persist for something, for a larger goal in the long run. Now, you can easily do that if you just have the money and just have it, let it sit there. You have that flexibility. You have slack resources to take advantage of them. The other thing that you have to do is you have to be able to walk away from any vacation or any vacation times at any sort of time. You have to be just like, yeah, you know what, it doesn't matter. You have to be like, meh, it really does not matter whether I do this particular thing or not, because something might come up. And so you might take it, and this is what I'm getting to, is that if you take a vacation and you spend that pot of money that you have, that means you have opportunity cost, which is you could have chosen another vacation sometime in the future. So if you spend all your money on a vacation in the summertime, that means that you're not going to have money to take advantage of sort of freak shocks, some random shocks that happen, demand shocks. And as long as you have that money available to take advantage of demand shocks, you can get some very good discounts. So you got to make sure that you always have some money available. You don't spend it all on a vacation. You just kind of are able to sort of, whenever you want, just buy something at a very discount. But you have to know that if you purchase something, you purchase a vacation, that you know that you're foregoing another opportunity to do that, a similar vacation in the future or a different vacation in the future, right? Until you saved up enough to be able to take that. To be able to take another vacation. That's what you have to really think about. And what I'm trying to get at is a lot of these things, it's really just a sort of one thing is Dave Ramsey is smart because he's telling you to save for things. That's important. But then the other thing that you have to be willing to do is just being able to be meh. You just have to be able to just not pay attention, not care whether you go on a luxury, whatever it is, You know, it's a luxury vacation, a luxury Disney cruise. You go on to the Disney resort, whatever it is. You have to be just willing and able to just not care whether you do it or not. And guess what? If you just don't care and you have that money, you have that flexibility, things are going to pop up. And when things pop up, you can be willing to take advantage of that. Now, this same thing really works well the same way when you're buying a car, for example, or any large item, buying a house. Just having that money sitting there and the ability to just be like, meh, you know, I don't care. That is going to allow you to take advantage of supply and demand shocks when they do occur. And they do occur. Every market has them. Sometimes it's a little bit different. You know, that the cycle time is different, or that there's some random events that happen all of a sudden and you can take advantage of them. But just knowing that you have that flexibility and you don't have to do whatever, you can do vacations like this for substantially cheaper than what other people pay for them. And you have to really be paying attention to that along the way. And, you know, my wife is much better at paying attention to those kind of things, so I'm going to credit her with them, because I'm not paying attention at all. I'm just kind of an absent-minded professor. So that's all I wanted to say. If you like this video, make sure that you do the old thumbs up. I appreciate it. Watch a couple of the other videos. And then you'll find out what the whole reciprocity project, the E is spelled with a 3, is all about and what I'm trying to do. So I appreciate the time that you sat here and watched the entire video. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.